So these drawings contain a little bit of a blood and mild gore warning. So click off if you're ever like squeamish with that kind of thing. So rotters are basic kind of just infected, what you turn into immediately after getting infected. So this is just what you would look like if you just got the infection, nothing really out of the ordinary. This is what would happen to you if you were attacked by something like this before getting infected. There are a few things missing from you. This is what would happen if you were attacked by a rattler or something else and got mangled in the process. This is what would happen if you were just killed or murdered in some other way other than infected before getting infected. All of these have less motor function than normal people. This has significantly less because the brain isn't there as a central processing unit. It just has a spinal cord. The brain is kind of optional for the infected, though it is helpful. The spinal cord is absolutely necessary, otherwise it can't just communicate to all parts of the body at the same time. Also, these usually die within a few hits. If you find a sturdy like piece of metal, you would be able to kill these fairly easily, and almost every single firearm possible would be able to kill these fairly easily. So rattlers are the stage after rotters. Usually after all of the flesh and miscellaneous tissues, like organs and whatnot, have completely rotted off because of bacteria. It will grow a large amount of muscle mass and become a lot more aggressive. It doesn't so much focus on infecting people as it does just killing and surviving. It can run at about 18 miles per hour on average. It is very much more durable than a rotter. It can withstand some bullet calibers to a degree, mostly weaker ones, though it still struggles against any bullet. They will almost always kill you or heavily injure you in like close combat, especially hand-to-hand. They are not as common as rotters, but you would still see a lot of them in any given area. Skinwalkers and prowlers are the stage after rattlers. Prowlers evolve from rattlers, usually in solitude. They're not usually in groups. They can be, it's usually only 4 to 5 if they are, though. They will usually hide in buildings or wooded areas, anywhere where it's easy to hide and ambush. The 2 limbs on the back are used for mobility and getting onto walls and in hiding spots. And they are significantly more stronger than rattlers. They are about 8 feet tall on average. Their outer layer of skin is a leathery protective coating, so if they're ever on fire or take too much, external damage, they can shed it and simply run away and use it as a, decoy, similar to lizards by chopping off their own tail. Skinwalkers are a little different. If they evolve from a rattler, or more of, I guess it is kind of evolving, not really. They're not really changing a lot. If they do come from a rattler, they are more similar to this, where it's like, if you were farther away, you could tell that it's supposed to be a human. If you're closer up, you would be able to tell that is not a human. They usually lure you into areas with either rattlers or prowlers. And they can usually mimic human speech to a certain degree. Now, if they evolve from rotters, they will look similar to this. However, there will be a lot more imperfections. That's usually if they're in a more populated area than if they evolved into a rattler. Now, there is cases where skinwalkers can evolve directly from people, though this is not common. This is only if you are in a highly populated area, such as like a settlement or a building with a lot of other people inside of it. And if that does happen, most of the time, it's not noticeable. Your personality doesn't change, nothing really changes about you, but you are more focused on infecting people, and you will eventually be completely controlled by the parasite. Typically, that's after you murder or lure everyone to a murder spot. Blight Fallen are a different variant of the infected. They arise from a different strain of the parasite. There are 3 different strains. The main strain, which is rattlers, prowlers, skinwalkers, and the secondary strain, the Blight Fallen. Now there's 2 kind of variations this can have. There is the castrum variant. In this one, it grows a thick keratin shell, usually limiting its movement a lot before it's fully formed, in which it forms a lot of muscle mass to be able to move and operate. Hive crawlers, on the other hand, form a symbiotic relationship with several different kinds of fungi and molds, either defensive or to spread more parasite and fungus around to infect. After they have fully developed, castrums are roughly 18 to 25 feet tall on average, and hive crawlers are a lot more focused on the fungus. They have very little offensive capabilities compared to most other zombies. However, they do attract several other types of zombies, most notably rotters and rattlers, in a roughly 150 foot radius. Now, the density of the spores that the hive crawlers produce is enough to suffocate a person if they were to get too close. Now, that's usually only within like 10-ish feet, so you don't usually need to worry about that. But it is enough to where if you are in an area near a hive crawler and you have a gas mask, it will almost always clog up and you will not be able to breathe. Castrums, on the other hand, are very durable. They can survive 1, maybe 2 shells of heavy artillery. Or not heavy, medium artillery. Heavy artillery would almost always be able to punch a hole through it and, if not kill it, heavily wound it. So in medium artillery, I mean tank guns or field guns. 2 main arms, they use this for climbing up walls onto buildings using barbed limbs. Their feet are a lot separated to be able to climb up buildings easier. And this top part, I couldn't show it in the drawing, but it is larger than this, and it would be able to lift other zombies on top of it and carry them up to and on top of buildings. It is completely blind. However, it can still hear to a degree. It's muffled due to the layers of keratin and calcium that the shell is made out of. It does have a microenvironment inside of it. This is mostly bacteria and other things like that. It does expel waste and inhale gases every 2 weeks, 2 to 2.5 weeks. That's through a small slit on its back. It's barely the size of your finger. You wouldn't be able to really use that to your advantage. So commanders are a special variant. They arise from infected who have the normal strain of the parasite, who have been in an area that is heavily affected by a different strain of it, either the castrum or the hive crawler variant. And it forms a keratin shield and a keratin sword. The keratin sword is detached from its body, and the shield is connected to its non-dominant arm. It makes makeshift plate armor resembling medieval knights, 15th century, being whatever it can find, scrap metal or other materials. It is extremely intelligent and can mimic human speech, and will often command other infected around, hence the name, Commander. It will often taunt or intentionally go after groups of humans. They are very intelligent, not to be messed with, and will often make strategies for when a group of people passes through a given area. And they can hear and tell what human speech means. So if you are ever communicating with people around them, they will know what you're saying and be able to plan accordingly. They are able to use other zombies as either meat shields or just general attacking. And they don't simply throw away infected, they actually have a purpose every time they do something. It's not stupid intelligence, it is like actual strategic intelligence. Knights are infected that are formed alongside commanders, or in areas that a commander has been through. Knights are very different from a commander in the fact that their armor is a chitin keratin armor, similar to the castrum. However, it is more keratin-based rather than calcium-based. It is also a lot less refined than the commander or castrum's armor, due to it being not as, the parasite not being as ready to make it. However, it is still very durable. One difference is that the shield is on the dominant arm instead of the non-dominant arm with the commander. Knights that are formed alongside the commander are loyal to the commander, quote-unquote loyal, and will always follow it wherever it goes. However, if it is a knight that is simply formed as a commander is passing by through an area, it's not necessarily going to follow it, though it will listen to it. Now, all infected can listen to a commander, it's just knights will listen to it much more efficiently and effectively, and with more speed and actual understanding of the commands compared to other infected. Commissars are a different kind of special infected. They arise from a castrum Blightfallen variant being exposed to large amounts of the fungi that the Hivecrawler variants have during a stage similar to this one, though it would be earlier on than this one is. Now, hold on. The Commissars are directly connected to castrums through this brainstem. They connect direct through the pore that they use to breathe to the castrum's brainstem, and will directly communicate eyes and other senses that they need to know, including commander's orders, as commanders will often use castrums as a sort of steed or mobility. Commissars have the fungus, so they do spread infection, though not nearly as much as hive crawlers. Commissars are able to fight, though they only do that if there is, quite literally, no other option. They have a horrible fighting capability. The only reason they have this spike/serrated blade is to sever the connection between the Commissar and the castrum if it is ever too dangerous for the Commissar, as Commissars are very coward-like and very timid, and they will not engage with any sort of hostile. Jaeger castrums are another special kind of infected. They arise from a Blightfallen variant, castrum specifically, being exposed to large amounts of the normal parasite variant. most notably ones that evolve into prowlers. Oh. Hold on. They have a shell that is similar to a castrum's, though one difference is instead of having barbed limbs all around, they only have it on one side, and on the other they have a blade that is similar to a just standard cutting apparatus, similar to a kitchen knife in sharpness, though it is able to swing with enough force to cut through most materials. The face is just a meat blob. It has a mouth and 2 eyes, though the eyes do not function. It can mimic human speech to some degree, and these tendril-like things are leather flaps that cover the face when it is not trying to eat you. It also does have remnants of the castle tower design on its neck. Its legs are very powerful. It is able to run at about 40 miles an hour, sustained for about 10-ish minutes. It is very, very much heavy on bloodlust, and it very, very much wants to kill you. It will stop at almost nothing to kill someone, especially if it has attacked it. The shell is of similar power to the castrums, though it doesn't survive as much. It can still survive roughly 1 to 2 medium artillery. It cannot survive a heavy artillery, though. This, if you were able to shoot this, you are probably already dead. So that doesn't really work. Though if you were able to shoot this, it would not do much, as the brain is not located in this head. It is located more in the mid-chest. Side note for these two, castrums will always continue to grow the keratin shell that they have to the degree where they will grow to a certain point where they can no longer support their weight, usually when they're about 30 to 40 feet tall. At this point, they are considered a horrendum castrum and will essentially more of drag themselves along the ground before completely collapsing and dying. And hive crawlers will plant themselves into the ground and create a hive. Now, this is usually in the corpses of dead castrums or horrendum castrums, though can be in basements or any other place that is good for developing fungi and mold.